the Nazis or the ISIS mentality? Which was more evil? I mean, I'm looking at the two of them. Yeah. Are they the same, cut from exactly the same cloth, or
they're both the same as far as I'm concerned. In terms of level of being evil, they're the same. And you know, the Japanese Imperial Army, same right there. Rape of Nanking. Let's have a look at that. You know, ISIS systematically raping 10-year-old girls and boys. Yeah, let's just put them all in the same bucket as far as I'm concerned.
Anybody who says
wipe the earth of them all.
Americans have their problems. They're just the same.
Americans, we do have problems. We've made mistakes. Yeah. You know, we've done things that are horrible and awful. Right. Absolutely. Yeah. You know, I've covered a lot of that on my podcast. I covered the Lai Massacre on my podcast. And even my dad, who is a very pro-American conservative guy, when he listened to my podcast on the Lai Massacre, he said, I didn't, and my dad, by the way, is a history teacher his whole life and the smartest guy I've ever known. And he said, you know, when I always thought that the My Lai Massacre was kind of like a liberal media spin to make us look bad. And I said, no, Dad, it wasn't. It was bad. It was bad leadership. And it was human beings being led in the wrong direction, because human beings can be led.
Big time.
And it's
a little frightening how that line is.
It's more than a little frightening. It's horribly frightening.
Yeah.
That particular, as I did that podcast, as I was going through it, I was thinking to myself, what's the lesson from this? What is the lesson from this? This company of U.S. Army soldiers, who, by the way, were the cross section of America, normal guys. They go in, they rape, torture, murder, mutilate about 500 Vietnamese, old men, women, and children. The lesson from it was, as all this was happening, as these guys just went in the darkest, most horrible direction, there was a helicopter pilot, which I'm sure you've heard. A helicopter pilot saw what was happening. He intervened to save some of the Vietnamese villagers. He flew back to base. He told the commander what was going on. He said, look, these guys are murdering people. The commander got on the radio, called the company in the field and said, stop killing people. And they stopped immediately. All it took was one leader to step up and say, stop what you're doing is wrong. And everyone stopped. That is the power of leadership. And by the way, what got them into that mess in the first place was a bad leader leading them in the wrong direction. So when bad things are happening, what you need is leadership. And when leadership steps up to move people in the right direction, human beings want to do the right thing. But it's very easy to get drawn into that dark place. So yes, has America done horrible things? Absolutely. Did we do things that it would be great if we could undo them? Absolutely. In every war, yes, it happens. But to say that America's evil, or say that, you know, we don't look back at those things and admit that they're wrong, and how do we correct them, and how do we make sure that they never happen again?
You know, the problem is that I think your father is very average American. We have split American history into two pieces. It's either all bad or it's all flags and apple pie. It's not. It's Winston Churchill. It's both. He was a monster in India and he was great in Europe. It's both. It's which way are we headed?